Everybody in? Everybody good?
We're good.
Lauren, you in?
She's in.
She's in?
Yep.
Everybody in down here?
The ones that we can see.
Everybody good down here? Daniel good? You good?
I'm good.
Alrighty.
Yeah. He normally
did.
goes to the gym.
Oh,
So
these are
In the middle?
No, no.
crashed.
No.
all three. All three.
Oh, that makes sense.
Oh, there it is.
A little green line on
That was on.
there. Yep, I think you got them all now.
These are normal speakers.
Good to go. Boy, those help a lot.
Yep.
No doubt. I think we're ready. We'll let him get back there. Good evening, everybody. Appreciate you coming out tonight. We don't have a youngster this evening, so I will call the meeting to order. And then we will call roll.
Matthews,
Here.
Ingalls,
Here.
Flood,
Here.
Bolt,
Here.
Rutherford,
Here.
Seymour,
Here.
Richter.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Let's see, we will do invocation. Travis is going to do that for us.
Please pray with me. Father, thank you for today. Thank you again for the amazing women and men that serve our city, God, and do so much to keep us all moving in the right direction. God, I just pray tonight as we honor these amazing folks tonight, God, that not only do we honor them, God, but we honor you in everything that we do and say. God, just be about this business with us and help us to make the right decisions. It's through your son's name we pray. Amen.
Thank you very much. You'll join me in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we've got a couple of things to start off the evening. Number one is going to be recognition of the Potawatomi Fire basketball team. So I'll come down front and we're going to do something different. I'm going to ask the three of you to go with me because we're all at the ball game. So I know we're all big basketball fans, so let's all go do it. All right. Come on up, everybody. So we like to celebrate big happenings here in Shawnee and big accomplishments, in our area. And it just seems that a national championship in a professional basketball league is one that we ought to celebrate. So hopefully everybody got to fire games and saw how much fun they were and how good these guys are and how hard they play and how you guys just put on a top-notch show. It's a top-notch organization. I know every team in the league is jealous of what we have here, and you can tell that because we managed to steal other players. So anyway, Chairman Barrett and Vice Chairman Capps and David Qualls, who's their general manager down here, let me tell you, they've done a bang-up job. I don't know how many of you have not been to games. If you haven't been to one, you've really, really missed out. It is a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. And we wanted to recognize your efforts and just what an amazing thing this has been for our community. So that's why we asked you to come here tonight. I'll read the certificate of recognition that we're going to give them and do photographs. But I've got a certificate of recognition on the 17th day of July 2023 to the Potawatomi Fire basketball team on behalf of the city of Shawnee to celebrate their 2023 TBL National Championship. And so Other commissioners, come on over here. You guys, I want to give you guys opportunity to talk too, because I know you guys go to a lot of the ball games. And Daniel does stats for them, which, I mean, doesn't really get to be a fan. You're there working. But I know you're having fun doing that and doing a great job doing it. So I'll give you guys opportunity, and then I'm going to give the fire representatives some opportunity to speak also. So,
So not only did they win the championship, but they had Coach of the Year.
mhm.
The cheer squad got Cheer Squad of the Year, and did we end up getting MVP too with
Got defensive player.
Defensive Player of the Year? So they talk about, you know, everybody doing the absolute best. It was amazing, and there's very few things that were going on in the kind of rough patch that we had whenever the tornado came through, and a lot of places where a lot of people were hurting and didn't know what to do. But that was a bright spot where there was some joy brought to our community, and the way that y'all intentionally take care of the fans and the team, and it's a joy to be a part of. So thank you so very much.
I may be one of the biggest Fire fans. Basketball was really my sport. I grew up playing. I was a mediocre basketball player, but now I'm a professional fan of our hometown. My husband and I actually, our first date was a basketball game. It was a Thunder game. But now we don't even go to Thunder games really, because we make every Fire game. It's been so exciting to have this caliber of playing right down the street. And the games are so fun because of the facilities, and the players have just been such a joy to get to meet in the community. And it's just such an improvement in quality of life that's approachable for so many citizens. I'm just the biggest fan. Not the guy in the orange suit big, but right there second, close second. So thank you for everything you've done to bring the team. And congratulations. Incredible.
I think for our second year we were competitive last year. I think everybody went into it, what's going to happen, and to see all that you learned from last year, and bringing in a great team this year. And I think the biggest thing for me is I have 6 people in my family, and all 6 want to be at the Fire game.
Yeah.
And so for that and I think that was your goal, and I think mission accomplished in creating something that local families can go and celebrate, take pride in our community. And from Chairman Barrett, Vice Chairman Capps, David Qualls, the General Manager, all of you have done such an excellent job. And I've traveled around the TBL just a little bit, and to see the quality of the product that happens every night. And it's been a fun ride. Players want to be there. Referees enjoy coming in. And best of all, it's just such a great thing for our community. So as the mayor said, if you haven't been out next season, make sure it gets on your calendar, because it's something we can take pride in, and to see the guys consistently giving back in the community, and that's a fun thing to see. And so we look forward to, we set the bar high, and next year we'll do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. Another championship next year. Well, come on up here and we'll give you this and get photos. I know Susie's got her phone all set to go, and anybody else that wants to evoke it, just come on right up here, and we'll give you guys opportunity to talk to her. But David, you got to get over here now. You did a lot of
I
this.
look better standing next to Kim.
There you go. You get it, Rick. Rick's at all the games. I know. I
Yes,
see
he
him.
is.
See him all there. So the floor is yours. The floor is yours.
Well,
So
for all of you fans, thank you for your support, and we look forward to next year. And this is another thing that we're going to try to do at the Potawatomi Tribe, to have some fun in our community.
yeah,
Thank you.
well, mission accomplished. Very good.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You bet. Okay, number 2 is we've got another recognition. This time it's for the Salvation Army. We have new captains in town, so we'll ask them to come up and Bob, you want to come up as one of their board members? Sure. And this first opportunity we've had to meet Ed. Brittany, it's nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you.
Yeah, so as you may or may not know, Salvation Army assigns a couple of captains here. It's usually a husband and wife, at least it always has in my mind. But maybe sometime that I wasn't, I don't know. But anyway, for quite some time, it's been a husband and wife team that comes and serves as captains here and does a lot of great work in Shawnee for us. But I know you only get to stay a few years and then they'll move you on to another assignment. So you folks have just moved into Shawnee. I think you've been here how long now? 3 weeks. So not long at all. But we wanted to recognize you guys for coming in and the Salvation Army for all the work that they do here in Shawnee and have been for 100 years. I mean, long time in our community. So I've got a certificate of recognition on the 17th day of July 2023 to Brittany Carr and Ian Carr on behalf of the city of Shawnee to welcome them as the new Salvation Army captains. And we really look forward to working with you guys. And so I'm going to give you this, and I know Susie, you probably want to get, we'll get photos. We'll let everybody get all the photos they want. And I know Susie's going to get one because she wants, and then we'll hang on because we'll make sure Rick gets one. See. And then I'm going to turn the floor over to you guys. And Bob, if you want to say a few words too, that's fine.
I do.
So,
Say something
there you
before
go.
they do. It's good. I want to brag
There you
out.
go.
You know, any of you that met the Connollys that were here before,
Mhm.
they were tremendous for our community, and they loved our community, and we loved them. I think we're going to have some equals here. They from Bartlesville, Oklahoma people, so we've had them here in Oklahoma, so they're not having to break in and learn about Oklahoma. They already know about the heat and other things. But we're really excited to have them. They're a wonderful family. They're 3 boys back here. They are just best little boys. We've just had a reception for them at the Avitas Foundation, and community welcomed them, and we would like again to welcome them, and now look forward to you all saying something, but we're really proud to have you here.
Thank you. It's a little dangerous to give the floor to a preacher. So I try to be respectful of your time. Thank you for welcoming us. For those that we've already met in person, I'm sorry, I'll try to remember your name, but thank you for giving up your evening to come say hi and to welcome us. We're really excited to be here. We've been here 3 weeks, and we're slowly but surely trying to figure everything out, and look forward to just working with the Salvation Army to do the best for the community that we can, and just see what Shawnee has to offer. We're excited for our family. Our boys are going to Grove, and if you see us in the streets, say hi, and hopefully I can remember names.
There you go.
I'll help you.
She'll help me.
Yes,
good.
we're very grateful. Thank you. Gosh, there's just so many wonderful things that we've already experienced, and we've only been here such a short time. So we're really excited. And yes, please, if you do see us, please come up and say hello to us. We're happy to meet everyone and hit the ground running.
Very good. Thank you
you
so
so
much.
much.
Welcome to Shawnee. Okay, item 3 is citizen participation. And looks like we've got several folks that have signed up tonight. That's great. Rules, just like always, 3 minutes per person, 12 minutes per subject. Our city attorney will keep time. Stand up here, be recognized by the mayor. Approach the podium, state your name and sign in, which folks have done. If you've got any handouts, you can distribute those to us. City clerk will help. Restrict comments to city business. State whether speaking an individual for a group. address comments to the commission as a body and not a member thereof, address questions to the mayor, speak respectfully. Profanity and personal attacks will not be tolerated. So, pretty standard stuff. So, first we have Mr. Steve, and forgive me, I don't know whether it's pronounced Musney or Musney, and I don't want to say it wrong. So, is he here? I do not. Stephen. And I do not see him, so we will move on to the next person. And David Thomas. The floor is yours, Mr. Thomas. So just come right up to the microphone. How are you, sir?
Good. So clearly I didn't read that when I signed it. I thought it was just signing in.
Oh,
but
well,
since I'm here, I'd like to say thank you guys for your consideration, everyone's consideration. Bringing Vortex Alley Brewing into Shawnee. We love this town. I've been here all day, sweating, but I hope you consider bringing this brewery into Shawnee. And thank you for your time.
all right, thank you, sir.
And I'll read the papers more.
Next up, we have Michael Effentringer. And I know I've seen Michael.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Thanks for the opportunity just to briefly share a thought or two with you this evening. And I just want to say I appreciate the service and the leadership you guys give to our community. It's very much appreciated by me and appreciate what you guys do for us. My thoughts tonight, I just wanted to share with you something that's important to me, something that I put my volunteer effort into, and I work with Potawatomi Go as a volunteer, and specifically within that organization, I serve on the Built Environment Committee. And there's several things that I could share with you on why that work that is being done, why that advocacy by that group is being done is important to me. In fact, it would take far too long for me to explain it all in the 3 minutes that I have tonight, but I thought I'd just share a couple of things. Commissioner Ingalls, I think, accurately commented in her comments on the Potawatomi fire that is a quality of life entertainment issue that we have for our county. I see that the work of Potawatomi Go, specifically the Built Environment Committee, is being a quality of life effort going on in our community. Speak to it on a couple of different ways. I have moved in the last 18 months to 2201 North Park Avenue. It's about 4 or 5 blocks as you go from Oklahoma Baptist University, a side street just 1 block off of Kickapoo to the east. Haven't lived in that part of town until just the last 18 months. What I am amazed by is the amount of foot traffic and bike traffic that comes by my home. I mean, what I had anticipated as I moved there versus what I have seen floors me. And what I do believe is I think we've got folks that are trying to stay off of the main thoroughfares. I think they're trying to avoid Harrison and Kickapoo and Federal and find a street that is maybe less traveled. I don't have an accurate count for you guys. It's something I intend to do and maybe share with you guys at some time, but there is a lot of traffic just in front of my house that are on foot and that are on their bike. And I think that Built Environment Committee is very much actively working towards improving the safety of those people that are working and riding and walking as their main means of transportation. And so I'm pleased with that effort that we're working on, and I think we'll continue to advocate for those types of things. The other thing I would just say comes from a personal standpoint. I and about 2 or 3 guys that are some of my closest friends, we run all the time. We run the city constantly. One of the things that I love that the city has done in recent months and years is expand the sidewalk network. We are finding ourselves running those expanded sidewalks. We're finding ourselves in a safer environment. We're finding ourselves, thank you, Joe. Joe, I will sum this up to say, thank you, Joe. I would value that effort to continually be looked at by the commission and by city staff as we move forward. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Next up is Steve Mitchell. Mr. Mitchell, how are you, sir? Doing great.
I'm Steve Mitchell. Thank you guys for having me up here. I live on 4 Larkins over there. My back of my house faces Independence and Bryan. Well, when they started putting in the satellite or the fiber, the lights over there, they hit them a long time ago. They have never been right since, and I have called. They've been working on them and working on them and working on them, and they're still not right. And you know, the gentleman was talking about the sidewalks. There is no street lights over there, overhead lights, until I called OG&E. There's supposed to be one on each corner. None of those has worked in months and months. I don't know why, and I'm asking safety-wise why we can't get them fixed, you know. And the street, this is another subject, between Kiowa and Bryan, it's blacktop. It's so patched up. I've called holes continually. I don't know why they can't repave that. Don't know the money situation, but I would like to see, to try to help safety and, you know, keep things beautiful in Shawnee. So.
Okay, very good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next up, Rick Young.
Good evening.
How are you, sir?
Great. First, I'd like to congratulate, I know Chief is chairman of left, but the fire, their organization, Coach Danforth, the Potawatomi chairman, which is Chairman Barrett, Linda Capps, and also David Qualls in their organization, and how their insight just to bring that organization to Shawnee. You have to hear the backstory of that. We can't do that in 3 minutes, but it's totally amazing, and you wouldn't believe it when you hear it. But we are very, very thankful for them being a part of our community. They're a part of the tectonic paradigm shift you've been hearing about for a number of years. And it's getting greater. And so we want to thank God for those individuals. Also for the IYFR and the committee that put that together. We could always count on rain when they come to town. We got about 2 weeks of that. And so those guys that are in lawn business, they are grateful. Also for the Kid Space Park opening. Was a glorious opening, and we're appreciative of all those people that worked on that for a number of years, and hopefully we can keep it as one of the top 5 in the state of Oklahoma. Also, the West Side Car Show this week, I think there was some success there, even in the midst of all the things that are going on Shawnee America Main Street, which has been well documented. We're getting way more coverage for Shawnee America from the national press and the local press, but we're working on it, and we're very appreciative of that. Also, I want to congratulate everybody who worked on passing Prop 1 for the last 3 years. And I know so Rick, why don't you talk about the other 6, because that was the one that we was pushing more than anything else was Prop 1. We have one more step, and that's the governor's signature, and that will be complete. Now, the other things that we're talking about here, and I appreciate my friend for coming and sharing about where he lives, and you're right in the zone, my brother. So we will keep that before us. The other thing is this, is that we talk about, more than anything else, I talk to people all day long. I really do. If you talk to people that know me around town, I talk to people that come here, passing through here, people that look like me that have been dropped here and everything else. And we do have a challenge ahead of us, but we are up to that challenge. One of the other things is that we keep putting people under one umbrella, and we need to take them out of that umbrella and make sure they can get to the people that are needed. The unhoused, the vagrants, the mentally ill, the criminally ill, the ne'er-do-wells, the drug addicted, and the non-pharmaceutical reps that sling stuff that they don't need to sling in our community. My encouragement this evening is keep doing what we're doing. We can use some more assistance and some more help, and I just want to commend you, because of you don't have to be there. In a year from now, we might have a whole different panel up here, those that are being up for re-election and all that. So continue doing what you're doing with your due diligence. Listen to what the people are saying. Please listen to some of the people that are telling you some things that we really need to accept. And I think some of those things we're not accepting. And we might want to use a little bit of caution. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. God bless
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that was the last person we had signed up. Yes, ma'am. Okay. You come up, you go ahead and come up, go ahead, come up, and just give us 1 second. Thank you very much. Okay, so Diana Torrio, is that right?
So what?
Diana Torrio?
Close.
Close.
Yeah, Tarrio.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, my name is Diana. I don't know any of y'all, but well, I'm really glad that I was given the opportunity to speak. So I guess, I don't know, many of the things that are going on around this community, I've been here for like about 3 years now. One of the things though, since, I mean, I just graduated from college about 1.5 years ago and got a job where I can get paid, though I now use my money to, well, help others. And that's what we're all here for, right? To help others and give a hand to someone else. So my heart has been within the people that are here in, well, around Shawnee, right? Like the homeless, and I'm just gonna address them, and I think that's my point where I'm speaking up right now. So we've been hearing lots of things and lots of changes that are probably gonna happen, and my concern was talking for the people that wanna help. These people get up and just do a life that God has given them a reason to do all of this. And I'm pretty sure that if you are a believer or not, these things are going to be considered because that's how the U.S. was built on, right? Was built on God's hand. And if it's in one of the coins. And so a couple days ago, or I think about a week ago, one of the cops came up to us saying that we were going to get a ticket if we will just give food out. And that's all we've been doing. We've been bringing food out, spending time with these people, and just preaching the gospel if needed to, just bringing the opportunity in front of it, and just God has provided that way for us to be able to start a ministry. And that's even one of the things that our church is trying to do also. Like, people are coming out to our church and just, I don't know, like they need help. And we are willing to help. Though there's people, even like 2 days ago, 3 days ago, someone came up to me, one of the businesses, and I don't know if that's going to happen to any of the churches around here that are willing to help and put the money in there. And it's just not saying that Shawnee is being selfish with the money that has been given to you guys to spend it on whatever resources they need, but also we are willing to help. Our church is willing to help, though how can we help if we get tickets? Like, I guess in my head that does not go through. Are we like, just, yes, I do get it that you guys have a responsibility as a city, and I'm not from here. I don't know all the rules of the state. I don't know all the rules of the country, but I'm here to help, and I'm putting money off my pocket, and I just say it that way. And I can give as much money, I can give as much as my time, though in regard of that, why would get a ticket? Why would that be stepped up?
3 minutes is up.
So just consider that, and whatever it is, just please, just hear that.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay. So we are to item 4, which will be consider approval of the consent agenda. I'm going to ask that item A be pulled. Anything else that anybody would like to pull from the consent agenda? See no's. Item A. A? First one, yes, sir. A, like alpha. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda with item A pulled.
I'll second.
Sir. Daniel and Travis. Okay, so that'd be approval of item 4, everything except A. So we will call the question. And motion passes 7-0. So now we will consider 4A, And we need to just make a quick correction there. That should be item number 20, I do believe. See anybody shaking their heads? No. So, Lisa, was that number 20? Okay, thank you, ma'am. So we will correct that to item 20. And then we need a motion for approval there.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve item A with the change from item 19 to item 20.
All righty, very good. We have a motion. Do we have a second? Travis. All right, Daniel and Travis. So we have a motion and a second to approve 4A with the correction to number 20. We will call the question.
I just said yes.
I've got mine. It says it's in progress.
Everyone say yes.
Yeah. A motion passed 7-0. So let's see, I think now we go. Okay, so I'm going to invite anyone to follow Seth, our engineer, as he's easy to miss. He's a tall guy, so you can follow him out for the bid opening. All righty, we will move on to item 5 is presentation of pet of the month. I understand we do not have a pet this month, so we'll move on to item 6. Commission appointment of vice mayor per Article 3, Section 6 of the city charter. And Andrea is up. How are you this evening?
I'm doing great. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. Per our city charter, the commission appoints one of its members for a term of 1 year to become the vice chair. The vice chair's function is to act as the mayor during the absence of the mayor, and should the mayor's office ever become vacant, then the vice mayor would step into that role until the next election. This is the meeting where we would do exactly that, to choose a vice mayor.
Very good. Any questions? I can tell you that I've talked with our current vice mayor, and he has happily agreed to serve in that capacity again if we choose to do that. So just open for discussion here. Or we can make a motion.
I'll make the motion to nominate our current vice chair to serve another term.
I'll second.
Cammy and all righty. We have a motion and a second to reappoint Vice Mayor Rutherford as Vice Mayor for another year. We will call the question. And motion passes 6 in favor and 1 abstention. Item 7 is consideration of revision to an agreement previously approved but not executed with Shawnee Forward for fiscal year 2023 to 2024. And Andrea is up again.
This may feel a little bit like a deja vu. At your most recent meeting on June 20, the City Commission approved an agreement with Shawnee Forward for the provision of economic development services. Shortly following the June 20 meeting, the Shawnee Forward Board of Directors has requested a minor revision to the contract language, which was highlighted in the revised contract that was included in your agenda package. Both staff and the city attorney have reviewed the suggested revision, again, very minor, and it is recommended that the item be approved.
Questions? If not, do we have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
Mark and Darren. Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval of item 7. We will call the question. And motion passes 6 in favor with 1 abstention. Item 8, consideration of the purchase of 5 vehicles from Bob Howard under the state contract pricing in the total amount of $180,990. And Chief Wilson is up. How are you, sir?
Good, thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Yes, we are seeking approval to purchase 5 new Dodge Chargers at the state bid price of $36,198 per vehicle for a total of $180,990. This is the current state bid price. Luckily, we won't have to wait for them to be delivered from the factory this time because Bob Howard actually has them in stock. So this is a really good deal for the police department, and staff recommends approval of this item.
Thank you, sir. Any questions, Chief? If not, do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Thank you, sir. Darren, and I think I heard Daniel. All righty, so we have a motion and a second to approve item 8. We'll call the question. Motion passes 7-0. Item 9 is a public hearing on an amendment to the capital improvement plan to change the public scope and increase the cost to include an anticipated pressure paving project. And Lindsay, you're up. How are you tonight?
I'm doing well, thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Last commission meeting, you may remember that we the FY 24-28 capital improvement plan was adopted, and staff is requesting an amendment to that. It was a previously included project, so we're not adding a new project, it's just changing a name. So the project was titled Seal Coat Overlay and Panel Replacement Project, and this amendment would add the word pressure pave at the beginning, so it'd be pressure pave, just to kind of call out that activity. It is also anticipated that the first year of this project will be at a higher expenditure level than subsequent years, so staff is requesting an increase to the project's cost from $1.5 million in the first year to $2.2 million, and a separate agenda item will be presented later tonight on a amendment to the budget.
Okay. Any questions? All righty, so we will open the public hearing. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in favor? Seeing none, is there anyone that would like to speak in opposition? All right, seeing none, we will close the public hearing. And we'll move to any discussion up here before we... No, we'll move on to item 10, consideration of an amendment to capital improvement plan to change the project scope and increase the cost to include anticipated pressure paving project. And Lindsay, is there anything else you need to tell us, or any questions for her before we vote? If not, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion we approve the item, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I'll second.
Travis and Cammie. All righty, we have a motion and a second for approval of item 10. We'll call the question. And motion passes 7-0. Item 11 is a public hearing review of proposed text amendments to section 22-295 of the zoning code regarding traditional neighborhood infill standards, deferred from the June 20, 2023 City Commission meeting. Brian, how are you tonight?
Doing well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Commissioners, this is a text amendment to the existing zoning code. The traditional neighborhood infill standards that are currently in place deal with issues about setbacks and setback averaging. They do not specifically talk to the idea of a minimum lot size, which means the base zoning district, R1 for example, would apply for an existing older lot in the community. In the R1 zoning district, that means a 6,000 square foot minimum lot size has to be maintained, which if you look at the platting pattern in especially the southern half of the city, that makes it very difficult. So as we look at potential rebuilding options for property owners in the community, staff has proposed this text amendment to insert a minimum lot size in the traditional neighborhood overlay of 3,500 square feet. That gets us to a configuration where many of the existing lots, some of which are 25 or 35 feet wide, can actually be built or rebuilt on. This was reviewed not only internally, but also by the Planning Commission. Staff and Planning Commission's recommendation is for approval. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Oh, this has been a big problem for a long time. Any other questions? Okay, with that, we will open the public hearing. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in favor? Seeing none, is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition? Okay, seeing none, then we will close the public hearing. Is there any other discussion up here before we move on? Okay, item 12 is consideration of an ordinance amending section 22-295 of the zoning ordinance of the city of Shawnee, Pottawatomie County, Oklahoma, more specifically known as traditional neighborhood infill standards, by adding a section 22-95.5 to said zoning ordinance. Mr. Harkins, is there anything else you need to tell us? I think, anybody have any questions for Ryan while we've got him? If not, we would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the item.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'll second.
Tammy and Travis. Okay, we have a motion, a second, so you are up, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. An ordinance amending section 22-295 of the zoning ordinance of the city of Shawnee, Pottawatomie County, Oklahoma, more specifically known as the traditional neighborhood infill standards, by adding a section 22-295, open paren 5, close paren, to said zoning ordinance.
Thank you, sir. All right, we have a motion and a second. We will call the question. Motion passes 7-0. So, let's see, I think. Alrighty, so we'll move on to item 14, consideration of an approval.
Item 13, Mr. Mayor.
I'm sorry. Oh. Okay, item 13, pardon me. Public hearing for a request for a conditional use permit, CUP, for a brewery tap room at the property located at 313 East Main Street, case number CUP 01-23. Applicant is Vortex Alley Brewing LLC, deferred from June 2023 City Commission meeting. Mr. Harkins, you are up again, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. As noted, this is a conditional use permit request in the downtown district, which is zone C4, excuse me. It is for a brewery and tap room. It is a use that is allowed only with a conditional use permit in the existing zoning code. This was looked at between staff and Planning Commission under the auspices of, is this a compatible use? Does this fit within the comprehensive plan? Staff and Planning Commission both felt it was an appropriate use in the downtown area and in the C4 zoning district. Staff noted with the Planning Commission that this would be one of multiple steps the applicant would have to take. The other would be obviously obtaining their license from the state from ABLE. That would be where issues relating to standoff distances from churches and other restricted uses would come into play. With that said, staff's recommendation and the Planning Commission's recommendation to you would be approve the CUP. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Harkins? Don't see any. So in that case, we will open the public hearing. Is there anyone that would like to speak in favor? And you're welcome to come again. You spoke earlier, but you're welcome to.
This time I have my glasses on, so I can
There you go.
driving.
I understand that all too well.
Mayor, I'd like to just say thank you for everyone's time coming out. I've been coming to Shawnee since October of 2022, more so since March. My car is basically on auto drive now, from Ponca to here, so I'm making record time, so it's all, it's getting a little bit better. But, I've been around looking at Shawnee and checking out what Shawnee has to offer, and there's so much. And I was floored by the idea there was no brewery here. We built our first brewery in 2016 in a small town, smaller than this. I was just floored by the idea that there was nothing here like that. We love the small town atmosphere. We love the Main Street atmosphere, and we love what the Main Street's already doing. It's already established. It's already, things are moving in that direction, and it's just for us. We feel we can add value to that, and we appreciate your consideration.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak in favor? Is there anyone that would like to speak in opposition? Seeing none, then we will close the public hearing. Any other talk up here? Any other discussion? If not, we'll move on to item 14, consideration and approval for a conditional use permit, CUP, for a brewery tap room at the property located at 313 East Main Street. Mr. Harkins, one more time, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As with the public hearing being closed, as we noted in the staff report for the public hearing, staff recommended approval along with the Planning Commission, subject to a number of conditions listed in the staff report, but also listed in the approval form for the conditional use permit. I'd be happy to answer any other questions.
Any other questions for Ryan? Do we have a motion?
Move to approve item 14.
Thank you, sir.
I'll second.
Let's see. No, it was Darren first. I think I heard Mark second. Okay, so we have a motion and a second for approval of item 14.
Just clarifying, that's
Yes,
with
sir.
the conditions?
Yes.
Yes.
I can read them. Acknowledgement by the applicant that the approval of the CUP does not negate or circumvent other requirements in city code, including not only zoning, but building and fire codes. Acknowledgement that by the applicant that additional permits may be required and inspections may be conducted. All licenses, permits, and regulations enforceable by the Oklahoma Alcoholic Beverage Laws Enforcement Commission shall be followed in compliance with all provisions of the Oklahoma Alcoholic Beverage Control Act. Those are the conditions.
I was making sure the motion included them.
Okay.
Not a problem.
Good. So we have a motion and a second for approval of item 14. We will call the question. Motion passes 6-0. Item 15, public hearing to request to rezone from I-2 Light Industrial District and R1. I'm going to let them give her just a second to come back in. So item 15 is a public hearing of a request to rezone from I-2 Light Industrial District and R1 Single Family Residential District to A1 Rural Agricultural District on property located at 1804 West Dewey Street. Case number RZ 1023. Applicant is Larry LeRae. Mr. Harkins, it's your night, sir.
Thank you. I'm not sure how to be grateful for that or to run, but we'll do the best we can. So this is a request to take two separate parcels with two separate zoning districts and rezone into one, into the A1 Rural Agricultural. The applicant essentially has their house on one parcel. They want to graze cattle on the other. in order to make everything compatible and above board. However, with compliant and conforming zoning uses, they would need to rezone to the Ag 1 Ag District, hence the request. Staff and Planning Commission have reviewed the item, and the Planning Commission, along with staff, recommend approval of the item. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions? No? Seeing none, then we will go ahead and open our hearing then. All righty, so is there anyone here that would like to speak in favor of this proposition? Seeing none, is there anyone that would like to speak in opposition? Okay, seeing none, then we will move on. We'll close the public hearing. Any other discussion up here? All righty, we'll move on to item 16. Consideration of an ordinance rezoning from I-2 Light Industrial District and R1 Single Family Residential District to A1 Rural Agricultural District on property located at 1804 West Dewey Street. Anything else we need to know? Okay, any other questions for Ryan last minute here? Do we have a motion?
Move to approve item 16.
Thank you, sir.
I'll second.
Daniel and Darren. All righty, you got a bunch to read this time.
You, Mr. Mayor, thank you. An ordinance concerning the zoning classification of the following described property located within the corporate limits of the city of Shawnee, Potawatomi County, Oklahoma, to wit: Tract 1A, tract of land lying in a part of the southwest quarter of the southwest quarter of the northwest quarter, and also lying in a part of the west half of the southeast quarter of the southwest quarter of the northwest quarter of Section 13, Township 10 North, Range 3 East of the Indian Meridian, Potawatomi County, Oklahoma, and further described as commencing at the southwest corner of said southwest quarter of the northwest quarter, thence north, excuse me, 0 degrees, 0 minutes, 39 seconds east along the west line of said southwest quarter of the southwest quarter of the northwest quarter, a distance of 131.18 feet to a point on the northeast right-of-way line of the CRI&P Railroad Company, also being the point of beginning. Thence north 0 degrees, 0 minutes, 39 seconds east, continuing along said west line, a distance of 345.62 feet. Thence south 89 degrees, 56 minutes, 54 seconds east, a distance of 904.21 feet, to a point on the west right-of-way line of highway number 177. Said point also being a point of non-tangent curve to the right, having a radius of 2,764.80 feet. Then southeasterly along the arc of said curve to the right and along said west right-of-way line of highway number 177, a distance of 341.26 feet. Said curve having a chord bearing and distance of, open parenthetical, south 6 degrees, 25 minutes, 10 seconds east, 341.05 feet, close parenthetical. Thence south 2 degrees, 53 minutes, 0 seconds east, continuing along said west right-of-way line, a distance of 134.41 feet, to a point where said west right-of-way line intersects the south line of the northwest quarter of said section 13. Then south 89 degrees, 49 minutes, 44 seconds west along said south line, a distance of 794.36 feet, to a point on the northeast right-of-way line of said CRI&P Railroad Company. Thence north 49 degrees, 49 minutes, 26 seconds west along said northeast right-of-way line, a distance of 202.62 feet, to the point of beginning, also described as the southwest quarter of the southwest quarter of the northwest quarter and the west half of the southeast quarter of the southwest quarter of the northwest quarter of Section 13, Township 10 North, Range 3 East of the Indian Meridian, Potawatomi County, Oklahoma, less the former right-of-way of the CRI&P Railroad Company, and Tract 2, the west half of the west 30 feet and 6 inches of Lot 2, all of Lots 3, 4, 5, 6, and the west half of Lot 7, Bradbury's Addition, being a replat of Block 7 of Maywood Addition, less than accept the westerly 34 feet of said Block 7 to the city of Shawnee, Pottawatomie County, Oklahoma, according to the recorded plat thereof, from zoning classification I2, Light Industrial District, and R1, Single Family Residential District, to A1, Rural Agricultural District, amending the official zoning map of the city of Shawnee accordingly.
That was a mouthful.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
You bet.
Thank you very much for that. Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval of item 16. We will call the question. And motion passes 7-0. Item 17, consideration of an ordinance relating to the arts and public places, amending Chapter 22 of the City of Shawnee Municipal Code by amending Article 9 of Chapter 22, providing for the arts and public places, providing for repeal, providing for severability, and providing for codification. Mr. Harkins, it's yours again.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Commission members, this is in some ways a housekeeping item. The original public arts ordinance and the Arts and Culture Commission were established in March of 2021 as an implementation item from the 2019 comprehensive plan. In discussions with members of that commission and staff internally, it was thought through and looked at that a number of housekeeping changes needed to be made in order to provide clarity and additional elimination of ambiguity in the public art ordinance. To that end, a subcommittee from the Shawnee Arts and Culture Commission worked with city staff to develop revisions to the ordinance. It was then revised further by city staff in order to make this, again, more clear and less ambiguous. That revised ordinance is before you this evening. This provides clarity on how the Arts and Culture Commission membership is derived, the terms of office, and also clarifies the 1% public art fee and focuses strictly on public facilities. It also provides, as funds allow, a potential for a public art matching program. With that, I would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
You guys got any questions? I know I've run into members of your committee, and they were very complimentary for the work that you and your staff did, and they're very happy with the end result. So I appreciate all the hard work.
Happy to do it.
Any other questions? If not, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the item, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I'll second.
Travis, did I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you, sir. This one's not as bad.
It is not. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. An ordinance relating to the arts and public places, amending Chapter 22 of the Shawnee Municipal Code by amending Article 9 of Chapter 22, providing for arts and public places, providing for repeal, providing for severability, and providing for codification.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval of item 17. We'll call the question. Motion passes 7-0. Consideration of resolution updating the city fee schedule by setting the art project application fee for review by the Shawnee Arts and Culture Commission pursuant to Article 9 of Chapter 22, the Shawnee Municipal Code, and providing for readoption of the city fee schedule in whole. Mr. Harkins, one more time, sir.
One more time. So, in accordance with the public art ordinance being revised and the fee being developed or instituted, staff has proposed this resolution to actually set the fee and adopt it into the city fee schedule. That sets the fee at $50.
All righty, pretty straightforward. Any questions? If not, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the item.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'll second.
Tammy and Travis. Okay. Well, the right one. All right, Joe, your turn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A resolution updating the city fee schedule by setting the art project application fee for review by the Shawnee Arts and Culture Commission pursuant to Article 9 of Chapter 22 of the Shawnee Municipal Code and providing for the readoption of the city fee schedule in whole.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. We have a motion and a second for approval of item 18. We'll call the question.
I didn't get it. I'll vote yes.
And motion passes 7-0. Item 19, consideration of the following budget amendments for fiscal year 2023 to 2024. And Lindsay is up. It looks like we got capital improvement fund 304 to fund anticipated pressure paving project in the streets department as promised.
Yes.
It's all yours.
All right. So I'm presenting for your consideration a budget amendment for the 23-24 budget year. This budget amendment is to give authority to the pressure pave project previously approved on the CIP amendment. This amendment will add $700,000 to the 2018 Capital Improvement Plan Fund for 23-24.
Questions? If not, do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Thank you, sir.
I'll second.
Darren and Mark. Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval of item 19. We'll call the question. And motion passes 7-0. And item 20 is we consider the bids for the wet demolition and clearing of 1, 7, and 9 West Main. Mr. Barkheimer is passing those out to us now, and the floor is all his.
Thanks, sir.
We can pass those down, Seth. Just don't get tangled up there. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This bid opening, as you said, is for the wet demolition and clearing of 1, 7, and 9 West Main. We had 5 bids submitted. You'll notice that you have both a bid tabulation but also a new plan holders list. I wanted to mention that. We published the plan holders list, and then subsequently on Thursday after that was posted, we had a couple more companies reach out that wanted those packets, so we went ahead and sent them out and wanted to get you the updated plan holders list prior to the opening. And we have several numbers per bidder here, so bear with me. With that, bidder number 1 is Viet National with base bid A. They're at $148,050. Base bid B, $59,750. Base bid C, $46,800. Add alternate 1, $254,600. Add alternate 2, $21,500. Add alternate 3, $12,800. And add alternate 4 at $11,100. Next we have K&M Dirt Services LLC. Base bid A, they're at $82,775. Base bid B, $81,575. Base bid C, $99,450. Add alternate number 1, we're at $263,800. Add alternate 2, $29,925. Add alternate number 3 at $11,150. Add alternate number 4, $16,975. Bid number 3, Total Demolition Services LLC. Base bid A, they're at $33,600. Base bid B, $46,100. Base bid C, $68,700. Add alternate number 1, $132,500. Add alternate number 2, $26,250. Add alternate number 3, $8,750. And add alternate number 4, $14,800. For our fourth bidder, which is American Demolition out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, they did not complete the complete bidders form, but did submit on add alternate number 1, which was the combination. Their bid for that item was $229,759. The last bidder was Midwest Wrecking Company in demolition. Base bid A for them was $147,210. Base bid B was $134,820. Base bid C was $168,810. Add alternate 1 was $402,310. Add alternate 2 is $24,910. Add alternate 3 is $17,120. And add alternate 4 is $13,110. At this time, staff would be request deferral, so we may review the bid tab and make an educated recommendation, but if you have any other questions, I'd be happy to answer those at this time.
So you'd like it deferred to a future meeting then?
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay. Questions, or do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the request to defer to future meetings.
I'll second.
Alrighty. Travis and Cammie. So we have a motion and a second to defer to a future meeting. We will call the question. Motion passes 7-0. That gets us to item 21. We will acknowledge monthly sales tax report. Lindsay, the floor is yours again.
All right. So the sales tax for July totaled $2,693,148.53, which includes $3,025 in interest. This is distributed across 8 funds. The receipts in July are from estimated June sales and final sales numbers in May. July 2023 collections are a 17.7% increase over July of last year. However, with the addition of our half-cent sales tax, the actual year-over-year increase is 3%. When comparing collections to budget projections in July, we are 10.6% above collections or projections. Use tax for June totaled $288,090, which is a 5.5 increase from July of last year. But when taking the half-cent sales tax rate into account, it's an actual decrease of 7.6%. When you combine the use tax and the general fund portion of the sales tax, the general fund is currently $130,515 above budget projections.
Okay. Questions? This was one I was really interested in because this was going to be a lot more right after the tornado, so. This be interesting. So it's not bad news, that's for sure.
Right. It is good, positive,
Yeah.
moving in the right direction.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll keep it that way. Any other questions or comments while we've got her? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate the report. And do you guys want to take a quick break? Or do you want to push through the rest of this?
There's not much left.
Not much left. We've got a couple administrative reports. Okay, so let's do that. Let's do the administrative reports. So I think, Lindsay, you got the first one, don't you, with the half-cent sales tax update?
All right. So I am happy to present the half-cent sales tax update. This is for the 2018 sales tax. And just a reminder of when this proposition was passed, June 26, 2018. And it added half-cent to the existing sales tax. That rate went into effect October 1st, 2018, and is set to expire September 30, 2028. The special tax is allocated for capital improvements, with 25% allocated to public safety, 25% for streets and roads, and the remaining 50% for parks and public facilities. One special note that I'd like to give during this update, this quarterly update, is the completion of a well-known project at Kids Space Park. So the 7.6 acre park had a grand opening on June 23rd, and without the voters' approval of this half-cent sales tax, this park would not have been possible. So I want to thank all the voters. So since inception of this special sales tax, we have collected $16.2 million in revenue through the July 23 collections, and we have invested $17.9 million in community projects. Through June of 23, for this fiscal year, we've spent $8.4 million. Some notable change or updates in this past quarter. Sorry, that should say fourth quarter. Two of the projects, $90,000 was spent at Kids Space Park, $730,000 was spent at Woodland Veterans Park, and one of the sidewalk projects was $158,000 at Kickapoo Street project. As stated previously, the ordinance approving the election allocated funds to specific projects by percentage. This is the percentage for public safety. The initial allocation was $7.5 million, and every month or every quarter I update the new allocation based on current sales tax collections as well as budget or collection projections. We're roughly $1.1 million increase from the original allocation. The following projects are complete: the police headquarters, police patrol vehicles, emergency warning system, and the fire engine has been ordered. For Fire Station 1 and 3, those projects are currently in review stage, and the Fire Station 3 is underway with an architect design for that. And then the fire training structure, that particular project has been put on hold until we can get final numbers on our Fire Station 3 remodel. The next category is streets and roads. This was the 25%, and again, the new allocation gets updated every month with current sales tax numbers. Currently, the 45th Street widening project is in design phase, and and then the panel overlays and panel replacement project. That project is underway, which is part of the project that we spoke previously about with the pressure paving. This last project is our parks and public facilities, which gets 50% of the allocation. Original allocation was 15 million. It is now an increase of 2.2 million at 17.2. We've expensed to date 9.8 million of that. Some status updates on projects. Again, the Kids Space Park is complete, and Woodland Veterans Park are the two parks that are specifically called out in that first item. Woodland Veterans Park is scheduled for late fall of this year. Some other updates for this quarter on the sidewalks. Highland Street and MacArthur Street, both of those projects are underway. Kickapoo is nearing completion. On the Santa Fe Depot, we have the GH2 architects are currently contracted. They've begun submitting their final design and construction documents to the city for internal review, and the anticipated bid letting date sometime this fall. The next two, for the auditorium, senior center, rec center, the CIP plan includes replacing the roof and installing a new gym and stage floor. For the library, the CIP plan includes replacing 2 HVAC units, a remodel to the restroom, and replacing the roof. And with that, I'll have to answer any questions that you might have.
Questions? There's a lot going on there. Absolutely.
When are we expecting design work back on 45th Street?
I can defer.
The design is almost complete. We're looking at a couple of right-of-way questions, and then we're also in coordination with the school as there may be some changes there. So we hope to have an answer for you relatively soon, but do not have an exact date at this time.
Thank you.
Good. Any other questions? Oh, very good. Thank you for the update. That's very good. And let's see, that gets us to the pressure pave project. Brad Schmidt is up. How are you tonight, Brad?
Good, how are you, sir?
Doing great.
So you've heard pressure pave 4 or 5 times at least tonight. So this is to better explain what that is. As you know, our roads are need some attention. This is a solution that we came up with to extend the life of some roads that are not quite to the full replacement. This project will extend the life up to 15 years. It's not a permanent solution, but it does buy us some time at about half the cost of a traditional mill and overlay, and about a third of the time taken.
There we go. Changed it.
So the process is it's a pressure injected modified crack seal that instead of just sealing the surface, it does go down and creates a barrier that's water sealed. So it's traffic accessible in 30 minutes or less. Seals 100% of the cracks. The surface remains sealed even after the top surface shows a little hairline cracks. It's still sealed underneath it. There's no milling. And Lincoln, Nebraska just this last year completed a 4-mile project in 10 days, and they had the mill and overlay process at 10 weeks. So significant time saver, and you're in and out, and you're done. Oh, this is the machine that is used to do that. That's the first step is the pressurized crack injection. And then they come come through also with a water-resistant membrane. And then the third is the second seal of the driving surface, and it's all in that one piece of equipment there. So it does it all almost simultaneously. So here's kind of a visual of what your chip seal or scrub seal. It relies on gravity fill, so you place the product on the roadway and hope that it basically it flows into whatever crack is there, kind of like a self-leveling material. With the pressure pave, it is a forced injection, so that it's pushing into every single crack as it goes through. Here's a couple of pictures. We have a lot of roads like the picture on the left. I don't remember this location. It may be in Irving, Texas. But after 1 year, it still looks new. I had to take a lot of pictures out for time's sake, but you can look online and see the difference between a traditional mill and overlay or chip seal versus a pressure paving. Here's another one. We've seen a lot of the dark asphalt in the gatored areas on a lot of our roadways. That was after 2 years. I can't see if it. Same stretch of roadway in Kansas City. So there's another project in Irving. Again, that's the type of road surface that you're in that PCI of around 50. So kind of that halfway mark. You can utilize this product on anything from a PCI of 30 up to 80, but your value for your money is that 50 range. I got a glare. So here's the goals for your finished surface. And then again, all of your cracks are sealed, large and small. It's sealed. They warranty their work. So that is the end of the presentation.
Very cool. So do we know how much of this we'll be able to do, like whether expressed in miles or, I mean, how?
So we've got about 28 miles on this first
Really?
go, 28 lane miles.
Yeah.
And some of the projects or areas that we were looking at is Airport Drive. You can start seeing you've seen the cracks. So if we were to mill and overlay that would be a probably $2.5 million project. We're looking at 35 to 40,000.
Really?
So do you mill the joints that are up?
So there will be some surface prep before they do
I mean, otherwise you're gonna have that in
Right.
the, I presume. This
No.
is just a membrane that's going on top of it?
Correct, but anywhere that there are sub-base issues or those large
You
cracks.
still have to repair the if the
Correct.
substructure's not good, you're gonna have to fix it.
Correct.
So basically, it's just pressurized sealer
Yes, sir.
that you're putting on, no aggregate in.
There is aggregate, yes.
Is there?
But
Comes out
the
of
roads
Clever.
have to be within that window of opportunity you talked about. I know you expressed like 50 to 80.
Yes, sir.
And I don't know all the details on that, but I know the higher the number, the better the road condition.
Correct.
So you've got to be within that window for this to work and be
Yes, this isn't for
effective.
every roadway.
No.
The key is to keep the moisture from getting out of it.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's what's killing it.
Yep.
Right. And that's what this is designed to do is to
seal it.
Seal those
seal it
cracks, because then you keep that moisture out.
And again, it's
Yeah,
not
makes a
for
lot of
every
sense.
roadway that we have issues
Right,
on.
but it's for maintenance.
It's the ones that we can.
Huge savings.
Without doubt. Yeah. Any other questions for Brad? No? Thank you, sir. Very interesting. All right, so we've got 22 down. 23 is new business.
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioners' comments. I don't remember what side we started on last time. Lauren, you want to start this time?
Sure. I think it is my turn to start.
All yours.
Let's see. I'm excited to see all the new projects that are going to be starting or have already started and nearing completion with the capital improvement plan, like the depot, expo improvements. And I know it's not on this agenda, but it's exciting to see airport things happening, especially when it's out of my front door. I wanted to say, and this is kind of personal too, so I'm not going to give too much of it. Thank you for everybody who has reached out to me in the last month to check on me and make sure that I am recovering well, and mostly for the majority of people who have been patient with me, that I haven't been able to respond to a lot of you. I still have about 40-something texts, voicemails, emails to get through. Just in the last month, I've been recovering from surgery. So I'm hitting the road back again, getting out there as much as I can before school starts. So I appreciate everyone who is checking up on me during that time. And want to thank the Civic and Cultural Development Authority for the rodeo again this year. I went out there on, I've already forgotten, I've been a few times. Took my son out one morning before it got too hot. Went out the night before, so I think it might have been Monday or Tuesday night, and met a lot of the families and groups that have been going since I was a baby. They've been every year except for the COVID years and maybe a couple that they've sat out. And they, you know, despite any hiccups or any problems that have occurred, they spoke highly of Shawnee. They spoke highly of everybody involved. They had concerns and praises, and it was great to hear it from people who aren't from Shawnee. And so they get that outside perspective that I love hearing. And they were just fun. They welcomed me in really well. I got to eat authentic from scratch Louisiana food, and it was really good, and they fed me well. And I had a good show there with the rodeo competitions. And then from that, I mean, that's kind of it.
All right.
That I can speak on right now.
Thank you, ma'am. All yours, sir.
Next, sales tax still trending decent. You know, it's pretty flat this last month, but you got to figure the month of May, we had a lot of businesses that were still shut down. So all in all, that was welcome. I appreciate what you guys put together on that. Kid Space, been by there a few times after the opening. It has been well used. It's a beautiful facility, you know, and the community, I think, is really enjoying it. The rodeo, you know, another one kind of behind us. You know, I'm still curious on, you know, what that actually brings to the community. You know, that's something as a group we're going to have to figure out down the road, you know, if we're going to continue on that bandwagon or decide to do something different. So we'll have some hard decisions over the next year, or actually the next 6 months. The street repair, that's going to give us a lot of flexibility on roads that are in pretty good shape to continue the life, extend the life pretty considerably at a pretty reasonable cost. So, you know, keeping the moisture out of the roads, that's kind of, water gets underneath them and that's what destroys them. So this may be definitely an alternative. I don't know, how new is that? They've been doing it for a while, or is that?
About a decade.
So there's a little bit of history and a little bit of research out there. So, you know, that will be interesting to see on that. But that's about all I've got.
Thank you, sir.
You checked off a few of mine, thank you.
Thank you for the sales tax report. Yes, good sales tax report. We're maintaining a little bit up, so that's good. I appreciate all the work the staff did in the agenda and for the bids and things that we got. Want to say congratulations to the Potawatomi Fire again for the championship. There was a nice car show downtown this weekend. I heard that went very well. IFYR may have been a little wet, but a lot of kids here, a lot of people here, so that's great. We've just got a lot of good things going on.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Your turn.
Just echoing a lot of the things. There's so much good that's going on. There's just the number of people that have reached out to just congratulate the city on the park, and just the number of families that are just cannot believe that we have that here, and that they don't have to travel to a much larger city to find something of that quality. And the young adults that are there. I was driving home late this weekend thinking, goodness, it's, I'm tired and ready to go home, and it was after 10 and the park was completely full. I could not believe it. And there were kids playing basketball. There were playing pickleball. The parking lot was absolutely full of cars. It was just unbelievable that they were still, it was full. I was just like, that's crazy. And I love that it was full and being used. And it made me so happy to see all those young people there just having a really, really good time, and just made me proud to be part of that. Again, the rodeo, thank you so much to all the volunteers that work so hard to make that happen every year, and congratulations to all the amazing youth that were able to compete in that. Oh gosh, there's so many good things that we get to talk about, and then sometimes there are things in our city that are not as much fun. But I mean, we have to give, acknowledge some of the hard things, but then also celebrate the good things. But just I want to take a second and just thank our amazing officers of our police force, and the amazing men and women who work so hard to take care of and do their best to protect and serve our city. Recently had a something of pretty significant value to my family stolen from my property, and which is disheartening, and it makes you upset whenever things like that happen. But I was able to get it back, not in the best shape, but I got it back, and it was thanks to our awesome police officers, and just you don't hear a lot of that happening, and I think that's one of the things that we although it was not a good thing that happened, it was ultimately is going to be okay, but if it weren't for their hard work and due diligence, I wouldn't have gotten it back. And so now I just want to say thank you to them for that. Gosh, again, to our amazing staff who works so hard to make sure that our city is running smoothly and doing good things, and the Potawatomi Fire. Mr. Mayor, you've got to get your family out to one of those games. They are so much fun, and it is just unbelievable to see how well those guys play, and just the whole thing is just absolute blast. Oh goodness, I lost my train of thought. Oh dang, what was I going to say?
You're talking about the fire.
The fire. Oh, the car show. The downtown car show. It was so good. There were so many amazing cars down there. So many people that and I love seeing good things happen down there with the live music and the food trucks, and just it was another just a really good thing for the downtown area, and I love being able to be part of it. So,
Thank you, sir.
I'm really encouraged by so many positive things happening in this meeting. Of course, the fire, we already talked about that. Kids Space Park, I had one of my best friends come in to visit last weekend, and she lives in Dallas, and she and her fiance came in, and she just kind of wanted to go for a walk somewhere. So I said, well, I'll take you over to our new park, and I sort of sheepishly said that because they live in Dallas. And they were so impressed by the park that they did the Ninja Warrior course in the 40-yard dash as adults, and they had to kind of drag them away. But they were truly impressed, and they live in an area that you would assume they would have stuff like this all the time. But it was really a moment of pride for me to be able to show that off to out-of-town friends. And I wanted to give some again, thanks to our staff, because not only are we seeing these quality of life improvements, which everyone knows I always talk about that, I'm big on quality of life improvements, but at the same time, we have leadership now in our city where we don't just have our head in the clouds and only think about those things. We are at the same time, our staff is looking for ways to cut costs for things like the pressure paving that we just heard about. That was really interesting and very exciting to hear, because pretty much anytime something good happens, someone comments, yeah, but what about the potholes? And now we're going to work on both of them at the same time. So we can have nice parks and we can work on the streets at the same time, and I really appreciate the work that the staff does to look into cost-saving measures and at the same time not deferring maintenance so that we can extend the life of those things. I appreciate also a couple things I saw in the room happen today. Mr. Mitchell mentioned an issue about some lighting, and I saw Emily from OG&E hop up and run over, take him out to the hall, and I'm sure she's writing down where he lives and going to figure out how to get those lights taken care of. And then Yenna, I believe was her name that spoke. I saw Andrea hand her card, I know with the intention to make sure the communication is clear there. I want to just make sure that the community partners, or just citizens of the community that have good hearts and are wanting to do things with the homeless, understand that the staff and the homeless director and that department is trying to create a cohesive, collaborative effort. And so there's a lot of pressure to make sure that those things are streamlined in a way that's most effective to serve those homeless people while also protecting our areas of commerce downtown and some of the residents that live in that area. And so I'm hopeful that those connections will be made, especially with the new people. I know that their hearts are in the right place, but as we move forward, I know that staff has some plans to do some more education for those churches or community groups, and to see if they can just get things streamlined where everyone's on the same page, so those efforts can be more productive overall. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
I think Coach Venables down at OU talks about the way you transform something is you stack days and stack good days in a row. And I think when I look at tonight's agenda and things we've talked about, like, I see it as kind of stacking days for Shawnee. When you look at the fire and the notability that brought to our community, the attention, the IFYR, the opening of Kid Space Park, stacking several wins right in a row, welcoming new captains to continue the work of Salvation Army. And then when you look at the street plan, I appreciate Brad and Seth kind of putting their heads together and those of us that are, paying attention, we know the limited budget and limited funding resources we have for that and the cost that it is. So looking at that creative measure to make some quick and visible progress for the citizens, I think is a great thing. So lots of wins, lots of tough conversations ahead. I appreciate Lindsay. The sales tax numbers are good, but even helping us kind of understand, break it down as we're introducing the new half-cent sales tax and what it really means. 3% increase doesn't sound all that impressive, but I think when you compare the time period of what our community was going through, and I think even what we all feared we might see, it's a good thing. And I think it's a great reminder of the importance of shopping local, but not just buying off the internet and saying, well, we still get a portion of that, but actually shopping the local brick and mortar, because that's where our citizens work. That provides jobs. It provides those dollars to circulate so many more times when we shop actual local brick and mortar. And so certainly appreciative of the citizens. We all did that through the tornado, and you could see what it did. And so hopefully we continue that trend and see the importance of it. So several wins, lots of tough conversations ahead, but good to celebrate several wins tonight.
Thank you, sir. And I'll try to be quick, but again, want to welcome our new captains here for the Salvation Army. The fire, what an amazing accomplishment that was to go 2 years in the league, and then here we are, national champs in the league, and just the class act that they've been down there from the very top to all the players and how they've been involved in the community, and the games are a lot of fun to go watch. I think my favorite one is when we were way behind with, what was it, 6 minutes to go, Danny?
Yeah.
And come back from 19 down and won that. That was amazing to watch. Kid Space, I could talk hours on. That has been just a resounding success. I know we went by there, I think it was Sunday, just after church to see how many, maybe it was Saturday, I don't know, but this weekend we're out there just to see how many people are going to be at the park. I've been doing that a lot, and I was absolutely blown away. There was 100 folks or so playing volleyball. They'd set their own nets up in that empty space that we left on the north side of the park. And I know I've had people ask me about, are we going to do stuff to fill that in? No, the whole intent is to have that blank canvas there for people to do cool things. And there had to be 100 folks there from, I think it was some church groups playing volleyball, but there was pickleball going on. There was 1 million kids in the park. And I just enjoy walking through that and visiting to so many of those folks and asking them where they're from and how they heard about the park. And so many of them are from out of town. And one thing I've noticed a lot lately is about 11 or so, we start getting all these moms and grandmothers, and they're bringing a whole herd of kids, and they've got like big bags of their lunch that they've either packed or they've gone to a restaurant and brought that to the park. I talked to one lady who was probably about my age, and she had a whole herd of her grandkids, and they lived in different communities. Some of the grandkids lived in Jones, some of them lived in Moore, but she gathered them all. She was from Oklahoma City, so she gathers them all up. They pack a lunch. They they eat lunch there at the park, and then the kids play at the park, and then they were going to the splash. So they were going to spend their entire day in Shawnee because of the parks that we have built here. So you cannot thank our voters enough for allowing us the opportunity to do cool things like that, and it is really paying off. People are just using that park nonstop, and I know I promised to be short, but I mean, I've got a grandson that's 16, and of course he can drive, so right now it's like every night during the summer he is out of the house to the park to go play basketball. So who are you going to play with? I don't know, but there'll be plenty of people there. It's just pickup games, and they play there till all hours of the night, but they're absolutely having a ball in that park. And even the younger grandson, who's 10, has gotten hooked on pickleball. So usually that's people with my color hair, but it doesn't matter. There is something there for everybody. car show was a great event. I heard they had over 200 entries. That was a really good event. I'm glad they made that later in the day and they could kind of use some of the shade. There's another big event this weekend, Friday night, for Habitat for Humanity, and that's going to be on Main and Broadway, so right outside here and in the Ritz. Be a good fundraiser for a good cause, so get out and support that. I did manage to get out to the IFYR a couple of times and got to talk to a lot of the participants, and they had a wonderful time here in Shawnee, and that was great to hear. Sales tax, definitely not bad. It was kind of encouraging. I was really wondering how that first full month after the tornado would go, and not bad. So hopefully that continues that trend, and it gets more and more, as we heard from our neighboring cities and more in Midwest City after their tornado. Their sales tax ended up going way up because people needed to buy so many things, and it's good to see more and more businesses opening up. I know we had another big restaurant on Kickapoo open today. Also saw that we have working traffic signals at Federal and Kickapoo. So the temporary lights are up and working, and I didn't get up that time of day at the other end, so I don't know how many more of those there are, but I know at Kickapoo and Federal those lights are operating, and that will help, and will help our businesses on Kickapoo. So lots of good things, good updates on the projects that we have in the works. Good to see progress on them, and thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor, for being willing to serve again. I'll try to be here, but I know we're in good hands. All right. So one other announcement that I want to make, and this is a big one, and that's that there will be a special call work session on homelessness on Monday, August 8th, 6 p.m. right here. So put that on your calendar and be here so you can get lots of good information from all the different departments that are working on that issue, and it is a big issue, and we all recognize that, and we are working on that every day. So there's lots that needs to be done, but there'll be a lot of good information. Again, that's going to be Monday, August 7th, 6 p.m. right here. So we are adjourned. We will take a quick break, as I promised some folks earlier. So give us just a couple of minutes, and everybody run down the hall and come back, and we will get finished up. Really, I need to sign out of this one. I don't know that I'm ever going to get used to that. Consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
Daniel and Darren. Okay, we have motion and a second for approval of item 1. We'll call the question.
Yeah.
There we go. Motion passes 7-0. Item 2, consideration of proposal to provide engineering services in support of the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, improved drainage project number 3-40-0088-025-2023, Oklahoma Aeronautics Commission project number SNL-24-FS. And Bonnie is up. You had to wait a long time, Bonnie. How are you tonight?
I'm fine, thank you, Mr. Mayor. How are you?
Doing great.
Good evening, Commissioners. Hope you're all as well as can be. I would like to ask your indulgence. The next 6 items on the Shawnee Airport Authority agenda are inextricably linked, and they are convoluted and complicated and difficult to follow. So to address this in a way that hopefully will make it easier to understand, with your indulgence, I have invited the airport's consulting engineer, Mr. Patrick Barnes with Lockyer Engineering, to do a brief PowerPoint to give a picture where words may not do the job. With your permission, sir?
Very helpful. Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. How are you again, Patrick?
Doing well, thank you. And thank you, Mayor and Commissioners, for having me this evening. I will try not to make this a boring presentation, and so feel free as well to stop me and ask me any questions throughout. I am not one on formal presentations. So.
That's great.
Just as a quick overview, this is actually 3 projects tied into 2 grants and 2 different funding agencies. This includes the main one, the largest one, is the improvement of the drainage system at the airport. Secondary, we're looking at pavement classification rating study, which I'll explain what that is shortly, and then also a terminal area plan. All of these are tied into various grants, and as Bonnie alluded to, it gets a little bit convoluted on how the funding works here. But first, I'll talk about the drainage project. Last October, the city's Public Works Department and us, Lochner, worked together. And the Public Works Department was a huge help. They helped us by running a camera through all the storm sewer system at the airport. That was a huge help for us because we were able to identify, first and foremost, we don't actually have to replace a whole bunch of storm sewer out there, which was a huge benefit. Immediately, we're able to look at shrinking the actual scope for the construction. At the same time, we spent quite a bit of time out there, I think 3 days roughly, investigating each of the inlets and storm structures out there, because we know there are some sinkholes out there. We're trying to figure out what's going on, and we wanted to map the actual storm sewer system. So we went through all that, and benefit was we spent all that upfront effort, found we really don't have to do a whole heck of a lot as far as full remove and replace. We did find there are some issues. We need to clean out the pipes. We need to do some grading around there, and there's some sinkholes that we can do some rehab on some of the structures. Some structures we need to remove and replace, and then we can fix them, and everything should go a lot smoother and continue to flow as it should. So we went ahead and we opened bids in June for this project. We received 1 bid. The low bid was Tri-City Seal out of Tuttle, Oklahoma. They are a disadvantaged business enterprise. Their bid number was right at the $635,000 and some change. It was significantly lower than the engineer's estimate. While we would have liked to have seen additional bids, as we always want to see more bids come in, we know there was at least 1 bidder that tried to, they couldn't get their paperwork in on time. So there was at least 1 other. We did have a lot of interest. We had at least 10 plan holders that were prime contractors. Had 5 actually show up to our pre-bid meeting, excuse me. We have worked with Tri-City Seal as a subcontractor in the past successfully. We did reach out to other engineers who have worked with them as a prime contractor. and they have had success with them as well. And so we do recommend awarding the bid to Tri-City Seal for the drainage improvements. The funding for this project involves both OAC, which is Oklahoma Aeronautics Commission, state, and FAA funding. Excuse me. As the chart in front, pie chart shows how the funding is split up, it's $504,000 of FAA money, $217,000 of OAC money, and it comes to $73,000 and some change out of the local match. The next one I'd like to speak about is the pavement classification rating. Now, this is a study where what we're going to do, this map you see shows all the various locations in the airport we've identified to do random sampling of the pavement structure, take a core sample, 4-inch, take some soil sample, and figure out what we're doing there is we're going to run some calculations, figure out what the bearing capacity is of the pavement. That way we can identify, are there sections of the pavement that are limited to certain types or sizes and weights of aircraft, or do we have a need for future strengthening of pavements? This will be a big benefit for the airport. For one, this is actually becoming more standard as well for FAA reporting. So we will be cutting holes in the pavement, which we all hate doing, but we will be filling them back as well. The last project we wanted to talk about right quick is the terminal area plan. Now, this is actually, we're looking at two separate areas on the airport. We're looking at the main terminal area and then also at the southeast development. Both of these, what we'll be looking at is various, aircraft access for vehicular traffic as well, for future hangar development. How can we lay those out? And what kind of utilities need to be brought in. We're going to be looking at all these types of things and developing a few different conceptuals for both of these areas. And just to give an example, southeast development area, you can see kind of a conceptual of what that could look like. This is just one of many things. This is pretty similar to what the airport's current airport layout plan already has. So that's what we would do. We'll help create multiple layouts. We'll work with the airport, the users, and the Oklahoma Aeronautics Commission to develop ideas and how we can develop the various parts of the airport. So, and then the big question, the funding. Both the PCR and the terminal area plan are both going to be funded at a 95% state, 5% local match. So right there gives the overall cost. So you're looking at $2,600 for the PCR and $3,000 out of pocket for the terminal area plan. And I'll stand for any questions that anyone has.
Questions? It's a pretty good deal to get 95% money.
Yep.
Yeah, let's sign up for that. Anybody got questions? Nope. So I guess Bonnie, back to you. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. So, and I will applaud Patrick's efforts and his team, as well as my colleagues in Public Works, because one of the reasons we can afford to do those last two projects is the state of Oklahoma had set us with a up to $450,000 contribution this year. And by reducing the cost of the original storm drainage improvement project and tightening down on that scope and reducing the cost of the actual construction phase, we were able to use those extra dollars that have been identified by the state to address those two development projects at the end of the presentation. So lots of applause for people who did an awful lot of work. And it was hot. There were a lot of bugs involved, tall grass, and we all had ticophobia at the end of every day. But it was really absolutely worth it to be able to maximize that participation and contribution from the state and to just keep moving forward. So for the more formal portion of this evening's request, the first item on the agenda there would be the Lochner Agreement for Engineering Services to support the construction phase of the drainage/stormwater improvement project at the airport, in order to comply with both the FAA and the Oklahoma Aeronautics Commission funding schemes. The staff does do a request for qualifications to select engineering firms based on a competitive environment, asking for qualifications for each of the firms. Lochner Engineering was selected by a committee and approved by this authority a couple of years ago, and we work with them through a master agreement, adding task orders in the form of addendums each time we have new work, and they provide us with a specific cost proposal for the individual services for each project. And so this evening, a copy of that proposal is in your board package. And another portion of the rules also being is that when we ask the FAA to provide funding for engineer services, we send that scope of work and proposed activity and time to an independent third-party engineering firm familiar with the type of work, and then they give us a review and say, yes, this is a good scope of work, these are the number of hours. And you may have noticed in your board package that they recommended we pay Mr. Barnes and his team more money than we intend to. So again, another reason why we like working with Lochner is just because they can, they don't. And so that's helped us out enormously. And this evening, we'd like to request authorization to accept Lochner's proposal for services in an amount not to exceed $155,700, contingent on receipt of the grants from both the FAA and the Oklahoma Aeronautics Commission, in the amount of $150,995 of the total fee.
Any questions for Bonnie? We have a motion.
Move to approve item 2.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
Hill and Hart. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve item 2. We'll call the question. Motion passes 7-0. Item 3, we will consider the bids and the improved airport drainage award. And Bonnie, you are up again.
This is the second item in the process. We have an engineer, we need a construction firm. And as Mr. Barnes mentioned, we did do a pretty considerable effort to advertise the opportunity for this particular project. We, of course, ran it in the newspapers, published it on websites. We did have interest from 10 different companies across a variety of states: Texas, Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma. One of the things that does happen to us is the airports project are rather small. And of course, we do compete against very large civil projects going on. ODOT puts their bids out at right about the same time. But we are very pleased to make a recommendation to award the bid to the apparent low bidder, a woman-owned disadvantaged business enterprise from Tuttle, Oklahoma, in the amount of $635,775 received from Tri-City Seal Company.
Right.
And again, this would be contingent on the funds being made available by the two granting organizations.
Okay, very good. Any questions? How about a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval of item 3. We'll call the question. Motion passes 7-0. Item 4, consideration of proposal to provide engineering services in support of Oklahoma Aeronautics Commission OAC project SNL-24-FS pavement condition rating PCR report, Shawnee Regional Airport. You're up again.
And thank you, sir. And once again, it's my opportunity to say that we're taking advantage of the available additional funds from the state of Oklahoma to do some preventative analysis to determine the needs of the various surfaces on the airfield, not only to potentially increase the size and weight of aircraft that can use our airport, but also to work with the FAA to make sure that we schedule proper rehabilitation of those surfaces in a timely fashion based on engineering science, not just opinions or, hey, it looks a little gray, maybe we should do something to it. We did have a project wherein the FAA assisted us with a sealing, or resealing and repainting project a couple of years ago, intended to extend life. So we're going out again, and this time going a little bit deeper to prepare the information to make that request to the FAA. So we'd ask that you would approve a proposal from Lochner Engineering to assist us with doing that for a fee not to exceed $53,400, and again, contingent on receipt of the funds we're asking for from the state of Oklahoma.
Very good. I know this is, at least in discussions I've heard, this has needed to be done out there for quite some time, so this answers a lot of questions. That's great.
It will definitely help us, and again, it's always a way to, the FAA does prioritize runways and taxiways, but they also appreciate if we do our homework on the way in and show just exactly what's going on subsurface to move us maybe a little farther ahead on the grant agenda.
Any other questions? If not, do we have a motion?
Move to approve item 4.
Thank you, sir.
I'll second.
Travis. All righty, we have a motion and a second to approve item 4. We'll call the question. Motion passes 7-0. Item 5, consideration of proposal to provide engineering services in support of Oklahoma Aeronautics Commission OAC project SNL-24-FS Terminal Area Plan, Shawnee Regional Airport. You're up again.
Yes, I am, and the airport is up again. The airport wants to grow, the airport has opportunity to grow, but again, we do believe it's important to grow smart and to grow in conjunction with the city, our services, utilities, our layouts, our roadways, and those sorts of things. And so an opportunity has arisen to work with the state to improve and enhance our terminal area development plans. The 2 target areas Mr. Barnes showed you on the maps, a little bit to the southeast and a little bit around. We might have a little bit of greater opportunity in that central terminal area for redesign as a result of the tornado. But hey, timing is great, right? So instead of just recycling the wheel, using a little bit of an opportunity that we have now, look at it. What should we do different as we grow back? And then what can we do to expand for additional services in the southeast quadrant?
Yes, ma'am. Questions? If not, how about a motion?
Move to approve.
Thank you, ma'am.
Second.
I think you got it this time. Amy and Darren. All righty. We have a motion and a second to approve item 5. We will call the question. Motion passes 7-0. Item 6, consideration of resolution accepting a grant offer from U.S. Department of Transportation Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, for the Improve Airport Drainage Project number 3-40-0088-025-2023 for the Shawnee Regional Airport. You're up again.
This resolution would allow staff to accept any grant offers that are made by the DOT, FAA on our behalf. They are well aware of what the projects are. They have given us, of course, the original planning and coordination, but it will need to be executed as soon as the funds are made available by Congress. And so a lot of times there's a short-term time, so we'd appreciate being authorized to go ahead and accept and execute as they arrive in a time, and we don't miss that deadline to say, yes, we will take your money.
Anybody got questions about that? How about a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Daniel and Cammy. And Joey, you're up again.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A resolution accepting a grant offer from the U.S. Department of Transportation, Federal Aviation Administration for the improvement of the air drainage, or for Improve Airport Drainage Project number 3-40-088-025-2023 for the Shawnee Regional Airport.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve item 6. We'll call the question. Motion passes 7-0. Item 7, consideration of resolution accepting a grant offer from the State of Oklahoma Aeronautics Commission, OAC, for the improved drainage and install solar-powered LED taxiway center line lights, pavement condition ratings, PCR study, and terminal area plan, OAC project number SNL-24-FS for the Shawnee Regional Airport. And Bonnie, you're up again. One more
This would
time,
be-
looks like.
This would be the companion grant offered by the state of Oklahoma. And since we have reached this stage, I would like to highlight two items. One, the independent fee assessment is the third-party engineering firm that we used, and that is a reimbursable cost, so we'll have that fee addressed by this grant. And also, just very briefly, because my chairman would be very disappointed if I didn't, Shawnee Regional Airport will be one of the first airports in Oklahoma to be enhancing our airfield safety by the installation of what's called lead-in lights. And they are green, sort of reflective lights that take you off of the taxiways and runways directly to your hangar. And what's even better about them is that they are LEDs that are powered by the sun.
Very
And so
cool.
they charge up during the day and they shine out at night. And we're kind of hoping to be a kind of a, no pun intended, pilot airport
There we
for
go.
this particular technology.
Awesome. Questions? Not would entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
And Travis. Okay, we have a motion and a second, and you're up again.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A resolution accepting a grant offer from the Oklahoma Aeronautics Commission, OAC, for the improve airport drainage and install solar-powered LED taxiway centerline lights, pavement condition rating, PCR study, and terminal area plan. OAC project number SNL-24-FS for the Shawnee Regional Airport.
Thank you, sir. We have a motion and a second for approval of item 7. We'll call the question. Motion passes 7-0. Item 8, new business.
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. We are adjourned, and we will move on to the municipal authority. All righty, item 1, consider approval of consent agenda. Yes, oh, we better sign out. Man, I'm never going to get used to that. It does take a second, doesn't it? I am so sorry. Go. You just let me know when we're ready. Ah. I think he's close. There we go. I think we should have 7 now. All righty. Okay. Item 1 is consider approval of consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
Tammy. All righty, we have a motion and a second for approval of item 1. We'll call the question. Motion passes 7-0. Item 2 is new business.
No new business.
Thank you, ma'am. That gets us to item 3, which is adjournment. Time to go home. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. Susie, happy anniversary.